Whatever it is you know about the Alamo, I guarantee I'm about to blow your mind with what it actually is. The history behind the Alamo is all misinformation and indoctrination. I know when I was in third grade, I learned that the Alamo is where the United States stood up against the Mexican army, and a few brave souls were able to fight off an entire army almost. And then afterwards, the rest of the military came in and saved the day. But in reality, the Alamo actually used to be a mission. That's what it started off as. This building was actually a mission. Then it ended up being a Mexican garrison because it was actually in Mexico's territory. So yes, the Battle of the Alamo did take place in 1836. But what you have to do is you have to go further back to understand why that even took place in the first place. So from 1821 all the way up to 1837, Mexico was actually abolishing slavery. So incrementally, year by year, they were getting rid of slavery in more places. What happened was in Texas, they didn't like this. Now, Texas, meanwhile, the whole time is part of Mexico. But Texas was actually somewhat under siege from individuals from the U.S. coming there illegally and bringing slaves with them as well. And they didn't like that this was taking place. They didn't like that slavery was going to be abolished. So they wrote to the government, and the Mexican government told them, too bad. They actually gave them a year and said, you can have a year to have your slaves, but get your affairs in order and then get rid of those slaves because that's not happening in our country. So the Republic of Texas, as it was known unofficially, because it was not a part of the U.S. at the time, because again, it was in Mexico territory, and it wasn't recognized by any international group, but the Republic of Texas, as they wanted to be known, decided that they were going to fight the Mexican army, that they were going to secede from Mexico. So they did that. They ended up fighting back. They fought against the military, and they actually won a couple of battles against the Mexican army. But then the Mexican army came at them in full force, and then all of a sudden, the battle was really on. What happened is the Republic of Texas, or 100 or so guys, decided to go and take what used to be a mission and also a former garrison of the Mexican army, and they took that. That is the Alamo. They took the Alamo, right? But the reason why they took that is because they were upset that they were going to possibly lose their ability to have slaves. That's where the Alamo, that's the whole thing. The whole battle even started over the issue of being able to keep their slaves. So the whole idea that there was U.S. Soldiers, but they were severely outnumbered, and they were in the Alamo, and they were fighting against Santa Anna and all. No, that's not what it was. It was dozens of different people that were fighting to keep slavery in a stolen chunk of Mexico that they called the Republic of Texas. And they were cornered by an army that was tired of them trying to take their land. And then they eventually ended up defeating them. Now, of course, a handful of weeks later, the U.S. the Republic of Texas gets a bunch of forces together because as some people escaped the Alamo, intentionally they let them go because they wanted people to know, hey, we're not going to settle for this. The Mexican army will come at you. Well, they spun the narrative, as it's been spun to everybody else, that, oh, we needed to defend the Republic of Texas. So everybody came down and they ended up fighting back, and they ended up getting back the Alamo and all of that and making it the Republic of Texas. And that lasted for years. Now, the Republic of Texas lasted all the way up until 1845, right? So they fought for that land so that they could keep their slaves and such. And by 1845, then, they end up becoming their own state as part of the U.S., not officially until 1846. And if you wonder, well, why is that? Because in 1846, that's when the U.S. government decided to get involved. Mexican-American War, 1846 to 1848. So the U.S. had a treaty agreement with Mexico, which is why they didn't step in when the Republic of Texas, an unsanctioned group of individuals, so that's what they called themselves, stole land from Mexico and called themselves the Republic of Texas, fought back, they won that territory, then they become a state in 1845. The U.S. is seeing all of this unfolding. But now they've got even more individuals that are legally in Mexico, called the Republic of Texas, and they want statehood, right? They want to be a part of it, and they have slaves. So they bring them in, and then they fight this war against Mexico to go ahead and take California and other states away from them and make that now a part of the U.S. And that's the real story of the Alamo. The Alamo is all about slavery. And I share this, and I hope that people will share this with others, because as a kid in school, I was taught that the Alamo was something completely different, and most people that I talk to, they have no idea that this is the real history behind the Alamo.